Welcome to the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Landing Group, and I'm Ron.
And I am John. This is the Ron and John Show. Hey, at the Ron and John Show, we're known coast to coast like butter and toast. We can make ISIS surrender or die, or make even the nerdiest guy look kind of fly. We can drink like we've been singing all night long, and we can sing like we've been drinking all night long. So if you're looking for a good time, don't you delay. Tune into the Ron and John Show. Me and this Ranger, we lead the way. Boom! Boom!
Boom!
What's up, brother?
Oh, just living, loving, enjoying life, brother. I'm tuning in live from the beautiful island of Curacao. Palm trees swaying, the wind is blowing. No complaints on this side. Yeah. And how are you, brother? You looks like you're at home from coming off the road for a couple of days.
Yeah, Sandra and I just got back from El Paso yesterday. I had the distinct honor and privilege of being inducted into the Non-Commissioned Officer Leadership Center of Excellence in the Sergeant Major Academy Hall of Honor. What a just truly humbling experience, man, to be included not only with my fellow inductees yesterday, but all of those true professionals that have given their life to not only our country, but to the profession in the United States Army. So just a phenomenal time, man. Hey, and you just got back from a little trip yourself down to the Synapse Center.
I did, brother. Yeah, absolutely.
And you weren't just visiting this time. You were, you were a patient, right?
I was, yeah, absolutely, a full-blown patient. It's nothing short of incredible in the dedication, the professionalism, the knowledge that team has is led by Dr. Charlene Gaudet there. It's phenomenal. You feel welcome as soon as you get there. They have you doing some weird shit now, running weight lists, gyros and all this. But, the fact of the matter is that this program in my, professional, personal, and just, brain experiences from before and after, of the results from balance, memory, brain fog, way lower on depression and anxiety, and just being able to handle things because I now have the tools and resources and the understanding of why things are happening. So it's really awesome. And so the follow-on week was to just lay low, relax the brain and, get some rest. I'm definitely in a relaxing environment. Haven't probably had as much rest as the docs would like, but we still got to live, right?
Yeah. Hey, so it was kind of, to me, because you and I went down there and visited, a month or two ago, and it seemed to me that they were kind of getting after what I've been focused on for the last 15 years, this physical, mental, and emotional connection that builds on the resiliency needed in not only just a warrior, but in a person in any day life to be able to continue to handle the stressors and everything. So did that kind of, is that how it went?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wide open. And, it's the way that it rolls is in the morning you get there and you start to get into the routine. You did the TMS where they identify where the TBI injury happened, activate the mitochondria, then you go into these different exercises. But the one that actually gets after specifically one that you were actually in is that Burtec, when they put the harness and you're walking through the supermarket. There was a one where I had trouble shifting to my left and to my right, forward and backward, and a lot of moving and catching anxiety with a lot of people. So they have this thing where they put these swords right in the middle, and they say, all right, you're walking through this kingdom and you gotta, kill the orcs and all the bad guys, right? So you're shifting left and right. But at the same time, you're looking up at the horizon, looking for different, following their instructions. If a word pops up, don't read the word, what's the color, and those kind of things, throw your mind off a little bit. But I noticed is that I was wondering, why the hell am I doing this, right? You want to always kind of wonder what that is. Wouldn't you know it, on my flight out, as I'm walking through and navigating the airport, I'm like, oh shit, these are just these orcs and these people. And it was like I was in the simulator, but I didn't have the anxiety. I didn't have that tension. And I was just basically navigating through being able to keep everything on the horizon. I'm like, it all came together as this is all really connected, you know? So
yeah.
you know, something as simple as navigating through the airport, you know, fixating on something, being interrupted, addressing that, and then coming right back to the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Or what people have is the old hamster wheel of subjects, right? So
Yeah.
it gets rid of that, and it's phenomenal, highly suggested,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get after more information on that. Yeah.
So our guest tonight, you know, when we talk about being physically, mentally, and emotionally hard, not only to, you know, take on what life has, but to live this warrior ethos and everything. This guy kind of lives it, you know, and what he does.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, I know this guy very well because he worked for me for 2 years when I was the SEAC. And I never have seen someone with the work ethic like this guy that, you know, he would be doing things all the way to 10 o'clock at night. He would get some family time in there. And then at 4 o'clock the next morning, he's back after his craft and then getting after the job. So what do you think? We ought to bring this guy out?
Let's bring him out, brother. The one and the only.
Hey. So here he is.
There he is.
Sergeant First Class, promotable. You're not a master sergeant yet, are you?
No, I haven't been to school yet. I'm just waiting on my date to go to school.
Okay. But a Sergeant First Class in the United States Army. Dang, husband, father, a gym owner, a business owner, but also the Ultimate Fighter, season 14 champion. And most recently, he won a catch wrestling belt down in Texas this last weekend. He is the one and only Colton T-Pain Smith. What's up, brother?
Hey.
What's going on? What's going on, SEAC? How you guys doing? What's up, Ron?
Man, good to see you, brother. Like we're talking about, just the multitasking never ceases to amaze me. And as he's rattling all this stuff off, I'm like, and then he's got the kids and this on the other. It's good to see you, brother. You're living the life and setting the example. We'll say that.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, right now I got right in front of me inside my facility, my boys are doing jiu-jitsu, my 2 sons, and then my daughter is back here as my +1 on the show.
Oh, yeah, there we go. You got Dakota in the back seat, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, so, you know, we kind of talked about what you've been doing, and I was kind of describing a normal day of Colton Smith in the Pentagon. And let me see if I get this right. You would either be up at 4 or you'd be at the Pentagon at 4, one of the two. And then you would, when the Pentagon Athletic Center opened, you would be training folks in jiu-jitsu there. Then you would be up, link in with me at like 6:45, 7 a.m. in the morning. We would do our business all day long. You go home, you spend a little bit of time with your family, and then you're off teaching more students in jiu-jitsu or other forms of mixed martial arts. And then you're in bed at 10 o'clock at night, and then you turn around and you're doing it again the next day. Is that kind of what your battle rhythm was?
Yeah, it was. You know, it was. I should say it is a grueling the way to live my life, I guess. But, you know, a lot of it is self-inflicted. I'm a glutton for punishment. I quickly realized quite often just what I put myself through. But I also know the importance of what I do day to day, from in uniform, out of uniform, you know, to being a father, to being a business owner, to, you know, my students right here that I'm watching the window right now. You know, my students in the facility, what they're doing right now. It's a kids program, and we have our adult Muay Thai class after this, and classes all weekend long. Even Father's Day, I'm holding a 3 o'clock open mat for, you know, those fathers that need to get a little bit of extra work in. We got some guys with fights coming up, so yes, I am constantly on the go, constantly grinding. But honestly, I'd have it no other way. I don't want to look back in 20 years and wonder what if I would have put the pedal down to the floor and you know, chased my dreams. In uniform, out of uniform, in the cage, out of the cage, as a coach, you know, as a father. So, yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people look at it like maybe I need to focus on 1 or 2 things, but as of now, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to do what I do, and my life is a little chaotic, but I'd have it no other way.
Awesome. what is like, where did that start for you? I mean, all this, I mean, obviously there's people that live a life of chaos, but yours seems to be structured and managed chaos. Obviously it was before even working with the SEAC here, or else he wouldn't have picked you. But where did that start for you in your career where it was like, you know what, I got to overload myself with all these things, but in a structured way? Or was it chaos that needed some structure for you?
So even before my military career, right? I've had a couple crossroads in my military career, but even before then, um, I had some tough love upbringing. My mom, single parent, raised my sister and I, and I was a little hellion. I was a little juvenile delinquent, if you will. So I was constantly getting in trouble, fighting, doing whatever, little mischievous stuff here and there around our hometown. And she was working multiple jobs, doing whatever she could to sustain for my sister and I. And a lot of it came from back then. I didn't have a whole lot growing up comparatively to my peers. We were in an upper middle class community. Probably would have almost been easier if I would have grew up, in the inner city or somewhere where, everyone around you is kind of the same status level, right? But my mom busted her ass, did everything she could for my sister and I, made sure we always had, our football cleats, wrestling singlet, whatever it may be, whatever sport I was playing in that season. And she did her best to keep me out of trouble while she was working multiple jobs. And she did a good job of it. But yeah, I always found myself in some trouble. But I think even back then, understanding that I had goals and ambitions and light at the end of the tunnel during wrestling season, especially, it's when I really kind of buckled down. Rarely ever got in trouble during that season because I was focused on cutting weight. Even like girls and everything else had to go on the wayside back during wrestling, or my grandpa and mom would hem me up. They caught me with a female or something before a wrestling tournament, talking to a girl or something. So even back then, having that sense of purpose, having that drive, that light at the end of the tunnel, that goal, short-term, long-term goal, it fueled me. At the time, I didn't realize it. At the time, I didn't realize that's what kept me out of trouble. That's what kept me, focused. Well, now that's how I kind of try to live my life is these short-term, long-term goals and achieving those, really write them down, whether you keep them in your head, whether you have visual reminders, whatever it may be, or individuals that remind you of that, being accountable for one another. I strive to have, I need that in my life. I need those goals. I need that I don't want to say tangible thing to go and grab, but now it's not just about me. Obviously, it's about my kids, but it's also about the men and women that I'm in uniform with, the men and women that I'm on the mats with, the children that I'm on the mats with, setting the example for them, showing them with everything I have going on, I can still go and compete at whatever level I'm given. I don't care. Like, I don't care if right now someone came up to my door and said, hey, best 2 out of 3 thumb wrestling contests right now. I'm going to do it because I want to compete. I want to, no matter what it is, I don't care what, I'll compete in anything. I don't care what it is. So fighting's no different, catch wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be. I'm going to do the best I can, prepare myself the best I can, and execute. Then now you talk about crossroads, right? Like when in the military, when I won the Ultimate Fighter, conventional wisdom would tell you probably get out and go chase that full time. On the outside looking in, it looks very lucrative. You're on the high, you're at the top right then, made it in the UFC, jumped a lot of spots to get to where you're at in the UFC by winning that show. And General Don Campbell, actually, he, I was in his office. He's like, oh, we're going to lose you, right? I'm like, no, I'm going to re-enlist. He's like, what do you mean? What does that mean now? Are you going to keep fighting? Well, what's the plan? He wasn't sure how the Army was going to deal with it. And I kept doing both, obviously. And again, people would be like, hey, pick one or the other. And I had some senior leaders tell me that. And I still just continue to be stubborn and do both. And, I think I've been fairly successful at both of them. Had a lot of successful deployments and operational experience and everything else, militarily and then fighting wise. I've been at the highest level of the sport. I've coached the highest level of the sport, and I continue to build a team that's going to be lasting well after I leave.
You're muted there, brother.
Hey, so you've had a lot of accolades, but one of the accolades I think that a lot of us Iowa boys would be envious of is you're in the Iowa Wrestling Hall of Fame, are you not?
I am. I'm in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, Iowa chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
That's pretty good, man. Hey, and you're still grappling. You're still getting after it. I know you haven't fought mixed martial arts, but tell us what you did last weekend, man.
Yeah, so last weekend I got a phone call for a winner takes all, basically winner takes all and the title for a catch wrestling Grand Prix. And sorry, one of my students was walking by. Catch wrestling Grand Prix, and what it is basically, it's like jiu-jitsu, it's a little meaner. You can slam them on their head. You can, any submission goes. It's pretty nasty sport. I love it. That's what I'm all about, is kind of the primal aspect of grappling and the more realistic aspect of grappling. So basically we all put money in, and then, it's one pot. Whoever wins the whole thing gets it all. And we were outside. We were at like this crazy, biker bar. It was pretty cool experience. And yeah, I mean, I was successful. I was confident. I've been training really hard. My body's extremely healthy right now comparatively to years past, where I would just kind of tough out small injuries here and there. But I'm feeling the best I felt. I feel like I'm in my prime, entering my prime, and this is my time to go. So competitions like that keep that competitive fire inside of me. Being able to validate my credentials, being able to continue to try new things in the cage. It's going to set the stage for when I do decide to make that leap back in the actual cage, the octagon, wherever, whether it's ONE FC, Bellator, UFC, whatever it may be. I'm not done yet. I got one last run in me. I know you probably wanted to ask that question later on in the show, but I have one last run in me. I feel good, and I want to do it not only again for myself, but for my kids and also for all of my students.
Yeah. So I think we let's take a look at how you did last weekend. Hey, Vic, pull up. Let's see which fight. Talk us through this fight here, Colton. We're going to get the video too and the audio, but talk us through this one here. I think this is the semifinal match here. Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, that's a semifinals. Yeah. So he, good college wrestler.
What's up with the hands,
wrestler,
man?
fighter.
You're not even moving. You just.
So yeah, I thought he was gonna rush me. I thought he'd rush into me, and I kept my elbows in, kind of a Greco-Roman style stance there, and I try to bait guys into shooting on me. So if you're listening, future opponents, you might want to be careful shooting on me. Come in defense and do what I do. I took him down with rather ease, went straight mount. Now he did defend really well on my head and arm triangle, which is rare because I usually catch that, but I catch it on the far side. So I was on his right side, and I wasn't able to secure the finish. I didn't feel like I had it tight enough, so that's kind of when I scramble up, and then I get the big slam, which I wanted. Both matches, I told my cornermen, Jeremy Oliver and Manny Martinez, that, hey man, I'm gonna take the back, I'm gonna slam them, and I'm gonna face crank them. And we'll see if that happens for both videos, but that was definitely the plan.
The old face crank.
You're like a spider monkey on him, man.
Yeah.
There's a slam.
Big slam. No, that wasn't as big
good
as
night.
What was the Ric Flair woo,
and
man?
just so everyone knows, catch wrestling is derived from carnival wrestling, which they want to see theatrics. They want to see, people talking a little bit, people running their mouth, a little bit of showmanship in the cage, if you will. So I promise I wasn't trying to be too cocky in there when I was, doing the Ric Flair woo, or putting my hands in the air and stuff. But it's all part of catch wrestling.
Awesome. Well, so that was your semifinal match. Now, how long of a break did you have between the semifinal and the finals?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
So
4 minutes.
4 minute break. There was no one in between. So that was the first semifinal happened right before me. So the guy got to wait until I walked out, did my whole match, and then we got 4 minutes between the time that I came out of the cage, went right back in the cage for the finals, and I was ready. If they would have shown the camera, I was on the walk, the catwalk, and I was just waiting on the catwalk the whole time. I was like, hey, let's go. I was ready for the finals. I mean, it's one thing I do pride myself in. I won't say that I'm the best at one thing when it comes to fighting or jiu-jitsu, but nobody has a better gas tank than me. And that's just me being completely honest. That's not me being conceited. Nobody has a better gas tank than me and ever will. So, you look at the Diaz brothers, right? They don't lose; they just run out of time. So yeah. I like to equate my ability to my cardiovascular ability inside the cage to something similar to the likeness of the Diaz brothers.
Hey, so we got to watch your championship match. but more importantly, we got to listen to it, because there was some commentary in there, and you had some retorts in there to that commentary from the audience, and we'd like to hear about it and talk about it. So, Vic, can we get the video and audio for the championship match?
Let's go, Jake. Yep, go. That's slow it down, Jake. Slow it down. Get into it. Watch your right side, Jake. Watch that way. Yeah, but it's from the under. There you go, Colton. Watch the map as you lift, open flag. Stand up. Yep.
I knew that shit was gonna go down.
You can hit a switch too. Let it go. I know.
Hey, let's use the cage here, Jake.
Colton control.
Just a casual conversation.
Great seeing that's it. Y'all get it up.
Hey, no, your toughest fight's coming up here right quick. Oh, no, put the video back, Vic. We're not done with that video yet.
Yeah.
Vic, can you bring the video back where it was at? Yeah, here's the toughest fight you had.
There it is.
Dude, what's up with you in this freaking shirt, man? It took you 30 minutes to neck crank this guy. It took you 10 minutes to get the shirt. What the hell is going on, man? Hey, so what we didn't pick up is some lady from the audience at the start of that match said, he looks scared. And you said, you're right, I'm scared, okay? What was up with that, man?
Yeah. So it actually was his cornerman. His corner said, "Oh, he's scared. I am scared. But his cornerman, you should have seen this guy. He was half drunk. He had jorts on. He had some cut off jean shorts, which I respected. No shirt on, and he was cornering him. Yeah. And I went back in there where they were warming up at. There's a bunch of empty beer bottles and stuff. So I was like, yeah, this guy's pretty smoked. But what's interesting is after I won that match, as soon as I walked out of the cage, one of his teammates called me out for the next card. He's like the 170-pound champ. Called me out for the next card, and I'm okay. I don't know what I don't see the outcome being any different. I don't know the guy. I mean, he's probably good or whatever, but I feel that I'm in my element there. I don't know. I don't know too many people in the world that can step in there like that, and I just don't. I see the outcome being the same no matter who steps in there.
That's awesome. I'm curious, and I'm think perhaps some other folks out there might be curious as well. Is on active duty, you're able to live this full career as an athlete, an entrepreneur, and we had just had on the show not too long ago, the leadership for USAREC, and talking about how the Army's kind of getting after some different things with this new evolving world. But how are you able to get after that? And what does the Army think of what you're doing? And how are they supporting you?
Just so everyone's clear, I take personal leave for everything I do, especially anytime I go out of state. It's definitely leave. It's not a pass or anything crazy like that. So personal leave anytime I go anywhere to do anything like that. So that means I don't do a whole lot of vacationing. Most of my vacations are spent cutting weight for some kind of event or cornering my fighters or cornering my competitors. So first and foremost, no preferential treatment's had. If anything, I'd say that I've had some leadership that maybe frowned upon it, and they couldn't fathom how you could exceed the standard as a non-commissioned officer, as a commissioned officer, as a soldier, as a service member in general, and still be able to be at a high level as an athlete. So I think a lot of people just can't fathom that or see that in their mind because maybe they couldn't do it personally, or they've seen somebody that has tried it and it hasn't worked out, whether it's a detriment to either their ability to represent properly or a detriment to their ability as a leader or as a soldier. I like to think that I've done a pretty good job of continuing to exceed the standard in every aspect as a leader. And then also obviously showing out anytime I compete and being a good representative and ambassador for the military, for my organization, for my gym, for myself. It is difficult. It's a juggling act, but as a Christian man, I feel like God put these two fires in my heart to be a world champion, and then conversely to also get after business with. Oh, here's my son needing a Gatorade. Open the door, buddy. There you go. All right.
Hey,
so I think it's
yeah. So I've got to weigh in on that because I was witness to this. So here you are. You're my ops NCO to the SEAC. You're traveling all over the world with me, and then you come to me one day and you say, "Hey, I want to go ahead and do a fight." And the fight was going to be in Florida, and it was going to be against an undefeated guy named Sean Brady, who is now still undefeated, and he's a top 15 fighter in the UFC. And I said, Colton, we're going to support you. I went to the chairman, General Dunford, and General Dunford said, we support him, just tell him to win, So the support was there. But I gave you the option to not travel and just train for the fight. And this gets back to when you said, hey, no preferential treatment. You said, absolutely not. So you went to Canada with me. You went all over the world with me. And everywhere we went, you found a place to train and everything. And you never once said, hey, I need some time to get ready for this fight. And I thought that was very admirable because I was witness to plenty of times when you didn't have any training partners and you were beating the shit out of yourself, So tell us how hard that is, though, training for a high-level fight. I mean, Brady is a rising star in the UFC now, and you took him to the limit in your fight, even though he had, I would say, 12 weeks of uninterrupted training, and you were with some asshole traveling all over the world for 12 weeks, So tell us how difficult that was.
Yeah, and I make no excuses at all for any of my wins or losses or whatever. Sean Brady's an amazing competitor. He's undefeated for a reason. He's smoking guys in the UFC. I think 4-5-0 in the UFC, doing great things. It goes back to making the best case scenario for your situation. I don't care what my opponent's doing. I don't care. All I know is I did the best I could with what the cards I was dealt. Being active duty, hadn't fought in a couple years. Whatever it may be, I'm still made the best case scenario for what I had. So whether it is beating the crap out of myself on a yoga ball in Waterloo, Iowa, or in Canada, running by a frozen river, making the best case scenario for my situation. I think that's something that I try to impart on everyone. Man, I don't care if you're training at Anytime Fitness and you got a punching bag in your backyard and you're watching some old DVDs or YouTube videos. If that's the best case scenario for your situation, you're giving it all 100, 110% and then some, then, whatever happens on fight night, just, you should hold your head high knowing that you did the best you could with the cards you were dealt.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all about the man in the arena, as they say, right?
Without a doubt, that's actually up in my gym right now. We got the man in the arena. It's a big sign. I make sure to tell all my fighters that constantly when they compete, like win, lose, or draw, man. It doesn't matter what the critic says or anybody says, or even what I say. You're the man out there under the lights that night.
Yeah, it's when, as SEAC and I, when we're traveling and we speak, we talk about staying connected, for those transitioning service members and because of the community. And what I'm seeing a lot more lately is a lot of veterans turning to BJJ, wanting to roll, missing that lifestyle and that love for the sport. What is it about that the BJJ itself that just really draws, lots of veterans, together? Because it's starting to catch on like wildfire. I'd hate to say it's trending because that means it's a fad here and gone tomorrow, but I don't think this is the case. I see a lot more veterans really either opening up their own gyms, inviting others in to do it, and it's growing. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I'll say, what it is. I found nothing in life as eclectic as the military. Literally a melting pot, right? Jiu-jitsu is the closest thing I've ever found. Not even wrestling. jiu-jitsu is the closest thing I found. You walk in my gym any given night, you have a firefighter on there. You're going to have a couple law enforcement officers, some FBI agents, some Marines. You're going to have a school teacher, superintendent of a school. You're going to have a GS 14 or 15, and then you're going to have some young Lance Corporal. And the next thing you know, you have a guy that's a former, criminal, did some time in, jail, non-violent crime or whatever, that does like counseling for fellow inmates and stuff like that. So it's just insane, the people you have on the mats. One thing of networking, right? Next to maybe working at the Pentagon or on the Hill, I've never been able to network more than I have on the mats of jiu-jitsu. I'm telling you, like that, it's unbelievable, just the walk of life that people have on, at different walks of life in jiu-jitsu. So yes, I do believe that it's one of the fastest growing sports in America. You look at like CrossFit, they have a big CrossFit boom, right? I equate it to that. I really do. I think that jiu-jitsu, modern martial arts as a whole are going to slowly take over the mainstream, if they haven't already in most cities. That's right, Dakota.
Hey, so since we're on, before we transition to you as the entrepreneur, I got to ask one question, just for your opinion. So the Army is really getting after this holistic health and fitness program. They're going to build these soldier performance readiness centers at the brigade level and everything. And obviously, we've got a new fitness test, the Army Combat Fitness Test. Give me your thoughts on the ACFT, compared to the APFT and the direction that the Army is going with holistic health and fitness.
Okay, so from my perspective, Colton Smith, not the Army's perspective, not my organization's perspective, but my perspective, I looked at when it first came out, I was very skeptical of the ACFT. And that's just, again, my opinion. I was very skeptical. I thought that the Marines did it right with their CFT, their PFT. I felt that whatever squatty organic equipment you have, or company level organic equipment that you have, you could probably utilize that and have some kind of a CFT. That's right, Dakota. Have some kind of a CFT or CFT equivalent. Sorry, let me get her our iPad. She's getting a little crazy. Hello, baby girl. There you go. All right. So, but I understand the intent of it. I understand that we need to get after the holistic approach of a combat athlete. You look at like how our soldiers are, no matter what their occupational specialty is, or any of our service members for that matter, and how important it is for us to be combat athletes. I look at like LeBron James, or look at like any of these high-level athletes, and yes, they make millions of dollars, but what's the worst going to happen to them on game night? They're going to lose. What's the worst going to happen to us downrange? We lose our lives or lose our bodies, our left or right. So I think more than ever, it is extremely important for the mental, physical, emotional health to get after business with things like the ACFT, with more comprehensive fitness, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, and just understanding the importance of that. No matter what your job is, I don't care if you're behind a desk. I don't care if you're a ground pounder, kicking indoors, winning wars. That doesn't matter what it is nowadays, especially in today's crazy, volatile battlefield. No matter what you're doing, no matter what your job is, you play a role in that. So it's extremely important that you're physically, mentally, and emotionally hard to survive the worst day of your life.
Yeah, brother, and the flip side of that is while Dakota is in there, cheering you on, which I think is just the coolest thing. It looks like she's probably 10-0 on you. But what as far as that family balance, obviously it's work. You're multitasking and everything like that. What's that like with you on the home side? If you don't mind us asking, what that looks like for you, because obviously we know that's an integral and important part of the structure for those married service members out there. How do you what the hell do you do to juggle all this stuff, and how does it work for you at home?
Yeah, so the kids spend a lot of time with me at the gym. They do the martial arts as well, so they're not just here just like hanging out. They all train as well. So seeing their growth, seeing them finding their identity on the mats. Seeing them come out of their shells, even from like an interpersonal standpoint, from the first day they walked on the mats with their peers to now, and the confidence they have, even interacting with adults and other children. That's important to me. So yes, some people may look on the outside looking in, man, you drag these kids around everywhere with you, doing stuff that you're doing. Well, they don't maybe see the hours these kids are putting in themselves, making themselves, the anomaly in this world we live in today. Kids too often. And I know, kind of a hypocrite. My daughter has her iPad right now, but I promise she runs around and is outside playing in the creek and in the woods and stuff like that. But kids these days, unfortunately, they're sedentary. We see it with the hampering of recruitment efforts because these kids growing up nowadays aren't like the last generation of war fighters that came in the military, where they came in, mentally tougher. They came in stronger.
Colton, let me interrupt you for a second. Ron, I got to step away for a second. You got it, brother.
All right.
Here we go.
Looks like it's just me and you, Ron.
That's it.
I like it. No, I think it's important though to note, how we raise our children, what kind of example we set. And again, people might think it's wild and crazy. I take my kids everywhere I go, as far as training goes and everything I do. But when I leave this earth, what am I leaving behind? Yes, hopefully some kind of legacy, but biggest thing is my children, how I raise them and who they're going to be and who their children are going to be, and generation to generation, I guess what the Smith name's going to be. And hopefully I was able to impart some kind of wisdom on them in this crazy world we live in.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, they're so impressionable, especially at those ages. And actually, obviously through life is, they emulate, what it is that we're doing, especially daughters, and having that connection, your sons and so on and so forth. But Rob Couture has something to say here. You might know this guy. He says, Colton Smith is a superb martial arts fitness instructor. Anyone who has the opportunity to attend one of his classes will be challenged, encouraged, and respected. Such a good leader, mentor, coach, battle buddy, and friend. So what is Colton Smith like as a coach? I mean, I guess a lot of those things are interchangeable, because I'm sure you've knife-handed, a few folks in the gym for not doing what they're supposed to, after you have to tell them over and over again. But obviously it's probably a little bit different in the ranks than it is in the gym. So what is the difference between Sergeant First Class Smith and Coach Smith?
Oh man, yeah, I have to. It's definitely an art, not a science, with coaching, because again, I might have a 5-year-old kid, or I may have a 20-year-old aspiring world champion, or I may have a 55-year-old police officer, or I may have a 42-year-old soccer mom that just does it for fitness and no other reason. And then a group of people that maybe just do it for togetherness and to have that brotherhood, sisterhood, that connection on the mats. So I have to really pay attention to the individual. And I think that's something that we're kind of getting after in the Army, even is being better at identifying talent, that talent management, the ability to get through this younger generation, get through to them as you give them good purpose, direction, and motivation. And I take that same kind of concept on the mats with me, or in the cage when I'm coaching my guys. Like for instance, I have a young Marine that's making his amateur debut next Saturday in the Salisbury Center, Manassas, Virginia, for an organization called Cagezilla. And someone like that, who's already headstrong, he was an athlete growing up, he boxed growing up, and now he's getting ready to put it all together in his mixed martial arts debut next Saturday. My students may see me rolling with him or sparring with him, and I'm a little harder on him. I'm grinding him in the mat, I'm pushing him down, I'm telling him to get up, but there's a reason for it. I was breaking him down before I built him back up throughout his fight camp. And I know some people probably look at that like, oh man, coach is bullying this kid, but hopefully they realize, I would do the same for them if they were getting ready for a fight. And whoever it is, I have to know the individual and what their goals are, and maybe identify the limits or the levels that I believe they can achieve, as long as I push them properly and effectively. So it's difficult. It's definitely something that I've learned. I became a better martial artist, a better fighter, I think, from coaching more now and owning a gym and dealing with different types of individuals. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity to make myself better while I'm making others better.
Yeah, awesome. So we've talked about Colton Smith, the soldier. We've talked about Colton Smith, the father, and Colton Smith, the coach. Now, let's talk about the entrepreneur side, because you've got a ton of stuff going on that side as well. I mean, from line to, I mean, what's going on in that world with you, and how are things going?
Yeah, so we started a clothing company, Enlisted Nine Company, after I won the Ultimate Fighter. And when we started that, a lot of it was to help out for the second Fort Hood shooting, help the Fisher House out. So we donated a bunch of proceeds to the Fisher House off of shirts we made, and it kind of blossomed from there. You know, we have given back to the community quite a bit, military community as well as local communities as well. Since 2013, we've grown exponentially. We've been battling Facebook a little bit. Sorry, Facebook, but you know, we had a page with over 1 million people on there, and Facebook, you know, they did their thing and they took it down, a little too patriotic and too Christian for them. So we're working through that right now, unfortunately. And you know, that's something we use for, wasn't the only thing, but it's something we used for a large scale marketing and to really push our love for our country, push our patriotism. And unfortunately, I guess they didn't like that too much, and it got stifled or whatever. So we're working through that, and we'll get past it. It'll take a little while. We'll get past that, but it's going great. It's something that I've said this forever. If it ended tomorrow, I couldn't be upset. It's given me the opportunity to meet amazing people, given me the opportunity to express myself through clothing, express, like-minded individuals through clothing. And I really think that it's going to be important for us moving forward to continue to utilize that platform and keep building that platform, whether it's on social media, whether it's in person. And that's also kind of segues into my one of my other businesses, which is my gym, Enlisted Nine Company, Virginia. We opened 2 weeks before COVID, and, which is kind of crazy to think we opened the gym 2 weeks before COVID like really kicked off. And but I can't be upset. We have grown, and it's all word of mouth. We actually stopped marketing. We did no marketing because we started growing so quickly. I wanted to kind of tone it down a little bit. So what I found, though, without us marketing, everyone we get every week that comes in and tries it out, they're like-minded individuals. It's somebody that's referred somebody they know. So I mean, chances are, if we already have good like-minded individuals, people that are good on and off the mats, they're probably going to bring in similar people. So the quality of people I have on my mats, quality of competitors, and quality of people in general, I've never seen anything like it. And I've been doing wrestling and martial arts since I was 4 years old, and I've never seen the level of skill and just overall the good people we have. And this isn't a sales pitch, but right. I equate it to the fact that we're not marketing. We don't even have a sign on the building. Isn't that funny? There's no jiu-jitsu, no Enlisted Nine sign on the building. People walk by this place and they're like, "What is this?" And finally they come in. I'm like, it's so. We will have a sign. We will, we market and all that stuff. But right now we're kind of at capacity. I mean, we built this thing so quickly that my classes are jam packed, and I couldn't be more thrilled about that. We reinvest every dime we make back into the company. So we want to build this thing. We want to get a bigger facility, have better facility with more coaches, more classes, and that's my passion, man. This is definitely my next chapter. When I retire, this is my next chapter. Whether I retire as a first sergeant or as a sergeant major, whatever it may be, this is definitely my next chapter, regardless.
Yeah, bro. That's that was gonna be my next question. Is I mean, you've got so much going on, and in a way that it's usually layered with someone's careers, right? They're a fighter, and let's say they're a soldier, and then they got out, and they're a fighter, and then you're a coach, and then then we'll get a line going. But you've got all that going on right now. What is now that you have all those things going, like you said, you met those goals. What's the bigger vision beyond that? I mean, obviously you got another one in you to do a run, in the fighting circuit. But do you see yourself continue to do this, or what? Is there a bigger, grander scheme that you're kind of shooting for? Or are you just living life?
Yeah. So I have another run in me. Most definitely have another run in me as far as fighting goes, and I'll get to compete in jiu-jitsu and catch wrestling and stuff like that probably for the next decade plus. But coaching gives me such fulfillment, and not only coaching martial arts, coaching at a public location, but I do a lot of defensive tactics for agencies and the bureau and other units around the military and armed forces in general. And that right there, man, I can't tell you how important I know that is. Important if I train, say I train 10,000 people, if one person comes back to me and says, hey, the techniques, which has already happened, but the techniques you utilized or you showed me or whatever, it saved my life or saved my buddy's life, or I was able to de-escalate a situation. Multiple people come to me from classes that I've taught throughout the years that have been engaged in hand-to-hand combat or even stateside. They've been in a scuffle, or a police officer is able to de-escalate a situation instead of pulling out that firearm. That is extremely important to me. So that would definitely probably be something that I will delve into further when I do finish up my career in the military, when I do retire, is do a lot more defensive tactics, a lot more combative instruction for law enforcement agencies, bureaus, and kind of take that market on. Being active duty, I do a lot of that stuff pro bono, just because I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in law enforcement. I believe in my brothers in blue, and obviously all the agencies around the United States, and definitely where I'm at, and be able to help them out and hopefully give them some skills where they can, have that ability to, have that cognitive function when that heart rate is elevated and they start losing those fine motor skills, and they kind of react, in the situation. So that is definitely a passion. Any kind of coaching I can do is passion of mine, and I love it. I really enjoy competing. Like I said, someone could walk up right now and want to fight me or thumb wrestle me, and I do, as long as I don't get in trouble. But coaching gives me more anxiety and fulfillment, and just when my guys are going, it's like rah!
Yeah.
I know what they're capable of, and seeing them achieve their goals and ambitions and dreams. Oh man, I can't tell you, but guys and gals, not just guys, but I can't tell you how fulfilling that is to me. They can't put a price tag on it, So just like next weekend, brother, my brother, my Marine brother Heon, he's Christopher Heon, fighting next Saturday, like I said, and watching him get his hand raised in the octagon is going to be phenomenal. I'm really super excited for that. I'm not trying to put pressure on him if he's listening, but next Saturday, South Center, Manassas, Virginia, Christopher Heon, Cage Zilla, getting his hand raised, representing the Enlisted Nine Fight Company, Virginia and Stafford. And I'm super excited. He's also getting out of the Marine Corps, so starting his next chapter as well for himself and moving away from us. But yeah, no, man, I love it. I light up anytime I think of my students and just what they're doing and how far they've come. Yeah, brother. Yeah, you definitely hit the soft button there on me, because that's where my heart and soul's at.
I see that, man. You're going nonstop on it. It's which is awesome, man. It's never apologize for your passion, right? Once it's tapped in and you hit it, you got to hit it. Let's see. Dom DeFata asks, Colton, when are you going to have your own brand of a protein cookie?
Well, tell Sergeant Major DeFata. He's like a master chef. I mean, if we need to have a brand of protein cookie, he's the one cooking it. So,
right?
Yeah, you don't want me cooking no. Yeah, you don't want me cooking nothing. I live off of protein shakes and protein shakes and prayers, basically. But no. Dom Sergeant Major DeFata doing amazing things for our country, and good man right there. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone else has some supplements. Is that in line for you? Are you like, here we go?
Downrange supplements, guys. Downrange supplements from the Quad Cities. I'm from Iowa. I'm an Iowa boy, Bettendorf, Iowa. Downrange supplements. Check it out. They're amazing. They do amazing things. They're partnered with Enlisted Nine Fight Company, Colton Smith, and they're awesome supplements. Honestly, some of the most pure supplements I've ever taken. You look at ingredient label on supplement bottle, you look at theirs compared to any of the top brands, they knock them out of the water. I mean, they're phenomenal. Combat infantryman, veteran-owned, combat infantry owned. Awesome company, and I support them because number one, they have awesome supplements, but also because of who they are.
Yeah, awesome, man. So as far as different leaders, someone asked, What inspired you to really kind of get started really in your fighting path? You said it's always been since you were a little kid growing up. Has there been some consistency with that, like coaches or someone that you were just like, you know what, I want to, that just drew you to the sport to continue?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'd say just in general, the best man I ever knew was my papa, my grandfather. He passed away a few years back, but by far the best man I ever knew. He took me to wrestling tournaments when I was, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. It'd be 4 a.m, pick me up on Saturday, snowy. I always remembered it being snowy for some reason in Iowa. And he picked me up, listened to his George Jones cassette tape and his Cadillac, and we'd go and drive around the state of Iowa and the Midwest and do these wrestling tournaments. That's something I always look back on. There's a saying we have in the wrestling community, and once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. And I can't tell you how many times wrestling has, I don't care if it's Ranger School or Sapper School or anything difficult in my life. I look back at when I was a child wrestling, and there was never a time where I felt like I couldn't get through it, because I mean, we look back at, young age where I was put myself through hell to make weight or to compete or whatnot. And nothing I've really went through has been as difficult as wrestling as far as writ large and the overall aspect of it.
Yeah. Look who's back. Oh,
yeah,
the other
Matt,
fancy
sorry.
pants is back.
I had to write a check for $23,000 for my new heating and cooling system. But anyways, it's just money, right? So,
Yeah.
so
Whatever makes mama happy.
So it's freaking Bush Latte the rest of the week, Colton Smith. So. Hey, so Ron, I don't know if you got into the entrepreneur aspect and talked about the business and everything, but Colton, when I look at, we talk about this PME hard, and I look at you're balancing a family, you're a professional athlete, you are a warrior athlete in terms of serving your country, and you're a business owner. All of that together, man, what do you do to blow off steam, that gets you away from all of that? Is it just taking the kids out and playing with them? What is it, man? How do you decompress?
So working out, getting a good PME hard workout in, whether it's throwing some weight around, getting a run in, a hike, ruck march, whatever it may be, that gives me some good, good 30, 45 minutes of euphoria afterwards, where I feel I kind of have that kind of runner's high, if you will. But grappling, man, grappling, jiu-jitsu, sparring, whatever it may be, any kind of martial arts in my gym. I mean, I'd live here if I could. I really would. I mean, I'm here enough. That gives me, hours. It's funny because I'm constantly texting, the co-owner here, Rich Pazinski. I'm constantly messaging him after practice, and like his wife's always like, "Hey, man, you guys just left each other. Why are you guys texting? You guys, But like, that gives me all the release I need, and I just wish more veterans, I wish more active duty would find positive releases, positive outlets. Not turn into the bottle constantly or pills or whatever it may be, destructive behavior. But no matter what you have going on in your life, just the importance of, 1 second. Let me see if I can get this back up. Just the importance of finding that outlet. And I think that I have found it. I mean, time and time again, through exercise, through making myself better, myself physically, mentally, emotionally hard. And then also I do ride my motorcycle now, which I hadn't rode in a long time, but riding my motorcycle gives me that as well, but maybe not on the same level as grappling or fighting.
Hey, so I got to tell a quick story. I know we're about out of time, but you and I went to Eastern Africa on our way across the Bab al-Mandeb Strait to visit some of the most elite warfighters the Navy has. And when they picked us up at the airport there in that country in Eastern Africa, there was the command master chief of the organization was there, but there was these 4 dudes that were about 5 foot tall, and their ears were all scrunched up. And as our good friend Rob Couture would say, they all look like walking knuckles. And I said, All right, I know what this is about. The Ultimate Fighter shows up, and all of a sudden they brought all of their dang badasses out. What was your thoughts here when we were at baggage claim there in that tiny airport there in Eastern Africa?
You know, see, I tell people this story about the time I got ambushed in Western Africa, and it was definitely an ambush. 17 hours. I think we flew into Addis Ababa and somewhere else, but yeah, 17 hours on a flight, and you know, something like that. You know, and I wasn't hydrated. I didn't sleep worth the crap on the flight from the pungent smell, and the people that kept getting up around me. But I show up, and yeah, these, you know, crazy, worse call flyer than mine, and just these guys, you can tell they were rough dudes, rough special operators. But you know, they tested my manhood right there in front of you too, because they were like, hey, 45 minutes, we do our workout on the mats. And I'm like, yeah, right, man, you planned this out, you know. And then you looked at me in front of the command master chief, and like, are you gonna do it? And I looked at you like, you know, basically, hey, are you cool with that? Because I know we had meetings right away, and you're like, get after your bad, you know, get on with your bad self. And I'm like, all right. So I went to my room. I immediately, you know, threw some BCAAs and pre-workout in a cup, shotgunned it, walked right there on the mat. Here's the crazy part. So I show up, it's a bunch of these special operators in a circle around the mat. Well, there's a clock on the wall, and generally you start the digital clock when you go to roll, you know, and there was no warm-up, no nothing. And the head guy, who's a second-degree black belt, walks out. He's a beast. I still talk to him to this day. He walks out in the middle. It's like Fight Club. And no one set a clock, so I'm like, and so this is a real, you know, horrible conditions set for myself. They were gonna get me, but I didn't care. So I went after him. Usually you give someone a little respect when you're on their mat, but no, he knew what he was doing. I knew what he was doing. So I went after him, and you know, we went for probably 20 minutes, you know, 20-minute roll nonstop. I mean, it was awesome. You know, I don't kiss and tell usually, but since he ambushed me, you know, I got him a few times. He never got me, but no, definitely a friendship that was built now, and you know, obviously he had to test me out a little bit, so it was good. He and I have a good mutual respect, and I won't put him on blast on the radio, but yeah, great service member, great person that's done amazing things for our country and continues to do so.
All right, my final question, and Ron, I'll let you close it out. I got to ask you your opinion on something, okay? Because this has been bothering me for a while, all right? And you know me, when I get bothered about something, you know, it really eats at me. Is there anything more stupider in the world than getting on a treadmill that is 10 inches from a wall and running 10 miles?
Oh, that was horrible. And the TV off to my left was like, it just had like white noise on there, you know, and it was like it was broken, you know. Horrible. That was not a fun time. I mean, literally the wall was right in front of us, running 10 freaking miles looking at a white wall. Oh man, and I was looking over at you, I was like, man, is this guy gonna stop?
All right, go ahead, Ron, close us out, brother.
Oh, brother, it was man, it's been awesome, Colton. As always, you know, the soldier, the father, the coach, the entrepreneur, which, you know, I mean, the philanthropist, I mean, you name it, you've checked those boxes, brother. And you know, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show and just to hear where you've been, and you know, since we've been catching up and where you're going and where you're headed. And man, I love to see it. I truly meant that earlier when I said, man, you're definitely an example to follow. You know, people should take notes of what it is that you're doing, you know, with the way you structure your day, the time that you spend with your family. I mean, some people call it juggling. You call it your life. And it's an inspiration, brother. It really, truly is. So thank you so much for spending the time this week with us. You know, we know that how busy you are. So we really appreciate your time, brother.
Hey, thanks, brother. Love you, man, and keep chopping them down.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, then, brother.
Yeah, great to see
you
again,
y'all.
Ron.
Yes,
we'll
brother.
See you all soon. Thanks again. Thanks for tuning into the Ron and John Show.
Have a great one. Boom.
The Ron and John Show is brought to you by Veterans Lending Group, where we can assist you with all your home buying and refinance needs. Since we're licensed in all 50 states, we can ETS, PCS, or retire wherever you go. Check out our education classes at vahomeloanbootcamp.com for our free classes, and you can also visit our website at veteranslendinggroup.com. Make sure to follow the Ron and John Show on Facebook, Instagram,